Kia ora. Welcome to People2People News Broadcasting. This postcard back to the U.S. from Wellington, New Zealand. I'm William Dwayne Huff.
And I'm Macy Fry. Tonight we find out what it's like to face the famous Kamada dance, or haka. A haka is a dance in which the whole body moves to impart meaning, and Kamada is the best known of all Maori haka. A famous chief, Kotiro Parhaha, when pursued by his enemies, was hidden in a kamara, or sweet potato patch, by the remarkable hairy chief of a friendly tribe. The wife of the chief sat in front of the entrance to the pit, hiding him, as Tiro Parhaha sat in darkness, waiting for his enemies to go away. He whispered to himself, "I may die, I may die, I may live, I may live." When his pursuers had gone, he climbed from the pit and joyfully declared, "This is the hairy man who fetched the sun and caused it to shine again. One step upward, another step upward, the sun shines." This traditional dance has since passed through generations and is famously used by the national rugby team, the All Blacks, before the beginning of a game. So what is it like to face such a performance? And now over to our reporter Paige, who is with the United States rugby team, who are just about to face the Kamada Haka.
Thanks, Macy. I'm here with the U.S. team. They're about to play the All Blacks as part of the 2011 Rugby World Cup. And here comes the haka now. Well, how did that make you feel?
Well, obviously it's a very intimidating ritual. I mean, they got a lot of great history going on in this program. Very strong team, but obviously we can't let that affect us. Just got to go out there, don't let them get in our heads, and play a good game.
What kind of impact do you think is on their psychology?
Oh, it really gets our juices pumping. We are ready to bring war to these guys.
Do you think you're going to win?
Well, obviously you got to go out there thinking, we got a pretty good chance to win. I mean, I believe we go out there, play a good game, play as a team, and play the way we know we're capable of. I think we can go out there and pull out a victory.
What are some rugby-related injuries you've had?
Oh, I broke my ear once, got tackled into the dirt, drove my ear right into the ground. Recovery's hell, 5 weeks of hospital food, simply dreadful.
Well, thanks, you guys. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Paige, and good day, mates. Now let's take a look at a controversial issue that has the locals divided and is annoying the good folks of Hollywood. Wellington is New Zealand's capital city and has everything you would ever want in one compact, windswept area. It also calls itself, or has been referred to as, Wellywood, on account of its modest input into the world of film. It is the home of the world-famous Weta production company, responsible for the Lord of the Rings trilogy, District 9, and Avatar, as well as upcoming features like The Hobbit and Tintin. All well and good, but the fact is that does the city need to celebrate its success in the world of entertainment by putting a large white Wellywood sign in the style of the world-famous Hollywood sign on one of its hillsides? Some say yes, over 7,500 Facebook users, and some Hollywood executives who say is a breach of a copyright say no. Is there a better way to promote and celebrate Wellington's international reputation and success, or if there must be a large sign on a hillside, could it possibly say something else? To discuss these matters and some alternatives, we go now to our entertainment reporter, Christina.
Hi, I'm Christina Roulet, here with airport spokesperson Ariana, Hollywood honcho Justin Bieber, who recently got a perm, and Hollywood resident Natalie. My first question is for Justin Bieber. Oh God. What is the Hollywood reaction towards this sign?
Well, I can tell you this, it's not very good. They think they're copyrighting the Hollywood sign from us, and personally I think it's a piece of crap, but that's what I think. And you can buy my CD in stores now, only at McDonald's.
Thank you, Justin.
Call me.
My second question is for airport spokesperson Ariana. Hi, Ariana. My question for you is, what do you think of the sign, and what do you think it will do for our city?
Well, I personally like the sign. I think it brings more publicity to the city and the country as well, and it also shows a close friendship between the United States and New Zealand.
Thank you, Ariana. And finally, I welcome Hollywood resident Natalie. What other names or ideas have been proposed for the sign?
Well, to avoid lawsuits, some have suggested names like Wellyside or Welly Vegas. Some have said to just put a giant statue of Smeagol and call it even.
Thank you, Natalie. Well, that's all for today. Why not just put up a big sign that says never gonna happen? Back to you at the news desk.
Good cup of joe. Thanks, Christina. And now I look at the Kiwi language with the Rugby World Cup hosted by New Zealand in just under 100 days' time. We try to unpack the mumbly, occasionally mystifying language that the locals here have created out of English. When tourists arrive in New Zealand, one of the first things they notice is that even though everybody might be speaking English, they can't understand a word the locals are saying. There's a lot of unique phrases used here in New Zealand, such as the all-purpose sweet as or inexplicable chur. Along with this is an interesting vowel structure, which seems to put a U in every word, so that common phrases such as fish and chips, a local delicacy, becomes fush and chups. New Zealander ladies also tend to say everything with a rising intonation, even midway through a sentence, so that everything sounds like a question, which is disconcerting because tourists often try to answer what a Kiwi would be saying even though it's not a question. Meanwhile, the New Zealand male will tend to start a sentence strongly and then trail off and mumble after one or two words. Add to this inclusion of phrases incorporated from the Maori language, such as tumeka, meaning too much, or kai, meaning food. Just confuses things even more. We go now over to our language guide, Anita, who is with a couple of Kiwis right now and is going to try to unravel what they're saying in conversation.
Sure, fella. I'm Sweet As here with my cousins Natalie and Natalie. I've noticed you guys use Sweet As here a lot, but I'm wondering, sweet as what exactly?
Sweet as doesn't really mean sweet as. It means more sweet, like as well as.
Oh, well, I'm going to have to try and use that more since I'm down here in New Zealand. And I've heard chur as well here, and I was wondering what can you define that as, and when is it appropriate to use?
Well, chur can mean a variety of different things, but mainly it's used as thank you and you rock. It's appropriate to use it when someone does something, like does a good job or does a good deed for you.
All right, thank you, Natalie. So what would you say is the difference between an Aussie accent and a Kiwi accent?
Well, as Kiwi accents, we have more of a higher voice than those Australians. They sound more nasally.
Oh, those Aussies. But I was wondering, what would you think is your most often used slang word?
My most often used slang word is definitely choice because it means awesome. And I'm in New Zealand and everything is awesome here.
Oh, well, sweet as, bro. I'll agree to that. But I'll say chur, and back to you in the studio.
And chur to you, Anita. Now we go over to Ryan for a look at the weather, and we can expect up and down this fabulous, gorgeous country.
What have you got for us, Ryan? Rain? Snow?
Thanks, Micey, or should I say chur, brought to you. Now let's have a squiz at the weather across Aotearoa, starting in the far north in Kataya. Look out for some pretty flash flooding and raindrops as big as your head. If you're going outside, wear a hat. In Auckland, there'll be a mix of fair conditions and unfair conditions, but those are the conditions and you'll just have to accept them. There'll be no weather at all for the Bay of Plenty. It's taking a short holiday, but it's expected to be back for the weekend. In Napier and Hastings, the weather will sometimes be changeable and sometimes not. We really have no idea what will happen there. In Taranaki, a mild depression brings with it a very dull day with no highlights at all. It will be overcast and gloomy all morning, but things should cheer up by the evening, so don't worry, everything will be fine. Wellington will have another capital day. There will be no wind at all, and the conditions will be so pleasant, they'll actually be extreme. In the top of the South Island, Kaikoura can always expect to have a good day, sunny and calm in the idyllic surroundings, except for tomorrow when you can expect the worst weather you've ever seen. A real mix for Christchurch, which will have some unreasonable rain, so hide your mama, your daddy, your children, your husband and wife, with the moderate thunderstorms and some very angry snow. And in the lower south, Dunedin will be frosty, cold, and unfriendly until late morning when the sun will pop over for a visit. Ting! Everybody likes the sun. That's all from me. Remember, if it's raining outside, that's the weather for you. Back to you fellas in the studio.
Ryan, and on that note, we will have to call it a wrap.
We hope you've enjoyed the show. Many thanks to each of our guests, and thank you very much for watching.
You'll see you again next time. Until then,
I'm Macy Fry.
And I'm William Dwayne Huff IV for People2People News.
Goodbye.